Welcome to the Third Degree Masonic Podcast, where we are always on the level. I'm your host, Brother Samuel.
And I'm your co-host, Brother Gabriel.
Welcome, craftsmen, to this very special episode of the podcast. We are absolutely thrilled to have you, but before we get started with all the fun, we had the master of Northern Light Lodge in the 11th Masonic District reach out to us and ask us to share with you an opportunity for a little bit of extracurricular knowledge. Northern Light Lodge is hosting a professional series, is what they're calling it, and essentially they're going to have some very highly qualified individuals come and speak about all kinds of topics, everything from finance, it looks like, to looks like a lot of business stuff from what I can see. But it looks like some of the guests that they have are very knowledgeable, especially when it comes to finance and those kinds of topics. They are putting on these presentations from January to April, and looks like there's going to be 4 presentations, 1 per month. And they're looking forward to having people. You can reach out to the master of the lodge at Scott, SCOTT, BALL87 at gmail.com. And they only ask that you RSVP. We will be sharing their flyer for their event on our Facebook page, so feel free to take a look there. And go check them out. Sounds like it's going to be a big blast of fun.
Those events are always really fun to go to. It's always nice when you have speakers coming in and maybe some brothers from some other lodges coming in. If you get a chance and you have seminars or any type of special guest speaker event in your area, definitely go to it. And craftsmen, if your lodge or any other lodges have events like this that you'd like to get promoted, let us know and we'll give you a shout out on the podcast.
But in other news, we are very, very excited. Today is going to be a very fun episode. I love this time of year. Christmas is my jam. I absolutely love Christmas.
I've never been one for the holiday. The only holiday I like is Thanksgiving.
Well, it's because you like to eat.
Yeah, actually.
And Christmas is just like Thanksgiving, except you have to be holly and jolly, which makes sense because you're a grumpy past master.
I get to live, I've always lived my life like a grumpy past master, and now I get to actually be the grumpy past master.
It's perfect.
It's a perfect fit.
I'm going to get you a beard and a red suit. You can be Bad Santa.
I can be Bad Santa. That would be hilarious.
But speaking of grumpy, we did receive a voicemail very recently giving us some critical feedback on the show. And we are men of our words. We always will share any feedback that we receive. So we're going to go ahead and share that on the show right now. And hopefully we can learn something from it.
Now listen here, you over-jolly schmucks. I've spent too long trying to keep the Christmas season boring and quiet. I'm so tired of Masonic podcasts like yours spreading cheer and brotherly love. It makes my skin crawl, especially now during Christmas. You're not even a good podcast. All those other nagging, cheery, fraternal-loving podcasts like 357 Studios and Time for Fellowship. And don't even get me started on that charismatic and jolly guy over at the Traveling Man Masonic podcast. I should start my own podcast. That's what I'll do. I'll sneak out and I'll visit 357 Studio. They won't miss all their equipment. I'll make a podcast myself. You'll see, I'll stop you from spreading cheer. Come on, Max! And follow me on Twitter at the Big Green Mean Machine.
Well, that was something.
That really was something.
Good luck to our friends from the other shows. It sounds like you're on blast too.
They're definitely getting their ear full too there.
Well, hopefully this coming episode will be a little bit better and a little bit more uplifting for that listener.
I hope so.
Our next guest, listeners, we're still waiting for him to show up. He's coming from quite a ways away.
But
Brother Gabriel.
What, Brother Wilburn?
I know the place in the north is usually the place of darkness, but since when has there been a fireplace and a chimney there?
Did Ryan install that? Did we approve that in the budget?
I don't remember approving that in the budget.
I don't... A fireplace in the lodge? I think I see... Is that a pair of boots coming out of that chimney?
Oh my god. Is there somebody breaking into the lodge?
Is someone coming into the lodge?
Oh. Merry Christmas, brothers.
Oh, it's Santa.
It's Santa.
Oh, brothers, it is an honor to be here today. I've taken a little break from the toy shop and the reindeer to join you for a festive chat. Let me just say, it's always a pleasure to meet with fellow craftsmen, whether at the North Pole or anywhere else in the world.
Oh, Santa, we're thrilled to have you. But we have to ask, how should we refer to you? You're Grand Master of Masons in the North Pole, after all. So does this mean we call you Most Worshipful Brother Saint Nicholas Claus?
Well, if that's the case, I think you technically have more titles than Charlie Murphy.
Oh. Very funny, Brother Wilburn. Brother Santa will be just fine.
I like that, Brother Santa.
Brother Santa. Welcome, Brother Santa. Brother Santa, now that you've made it here all the way from the North Pole, I guess we'll get straight into it. I've got to ask, how did you first get involved in Freemasonry?
Well, Brother Fawcett, my journey into Freemasonry began centuries ago. You see, the principles of the craft, brotherly love, relief, and truth, perfectly align with the work I do spreading joy and kindness around the world. It felt natural to seek fellowship with like-minded individuals who also strive to make the world a better place. My initiation was quite memorable. Let's just say there were a few logistical challenges getting my reindeer to wait outside the lodge. But the brothers were very accommodating. It's been a cornerstone of my work ever since.
Well, that's wonderful, Brother Santa. Can you tell us more about your lodge in the North Pole?
Is it as cold as they say?
You would make an icicle very quickly. But, of course, our lodge is called Polar Star Lodge number 1225, a little nod to December 25th. It's a unique place where elves, reindeer, and even a snowman or two gather to share in brotherhood. The lodge room itself is magnificent, with icicle pillars, snowflake engravings on the altar, and a glowing square and compass suspended from the ceiling. It's truly a winter wonderland of masonry.
Doesn't that sound incredible?
I think we need to maybe add some of that to our building. You think we can get that in the budget?
Brother Santa, could you, for my Christmas wish, can you bring us some of your lodge paraphernalia?
Well, Brother Gabriel, it's been very well installed, but I can see what I could do about possibly getting something for your lodge.
Oh, wouldn't that be awesome?
Just some snowflakes hanging from the ceiling?
That would be incredible.
I'll see what the elves can do.
So thank you, Brother Santa. So, Brother Santa, your work embodies so many of our Masonic values, like charity and kindness. How has Freemasonry influenced your mission?
Oh, it is at the very heart of what I do. Freemasonry teaches us to be charitable and to bring relief to those in need. And that's exactly what Christmas is all about. But it's not just about toys or presents. It's about spreading joy, hope, and love to everyone, regardless of their circumstances.
I like that.
I do too. I never really would have put together that Masonry and Christmas have so much in common.
especially when we don't, we try to stray away from the religious connections in Freemasonry, because we always talk about how you have to have a good grounding with a belief to make the Masonic principles work for you. But it's interesting to see some connection there between the time of year and the spirit it inspires, as well as the work that you do, brother.
Yes, everyone is welcome.
So my question is, the naughty and nice list, that's kind of a bit like self-reflection for moral improvement, how we do as Masons.
Ah, yes, exactly, my brother. The list is less about judgment and more about encouragement. It's a way to remind children and adults that it's never too late to make better choices and to live a life guided by kindness and integrity. It's very much in the spirit of Freemasonry's teachings.
I really like that.
I do too.
I've never really thought about Santa. It's been so long since we've had a good opportunity to think about what you do. It's been a year now since the Christmas idea and Christmas spirit has been around us, and it's kind of left us, and it's finally coming back, and it's good to think about the connections there of that Christmas spirit as well as the spirit of Freemasonry.
Yes, they do go hand in hand, and if you keep one in your heart, you'll surely find the other.
I do have a very important question about the list. Is there anyone that we know on the naughty list?
Oh, yes, the naughty and nice list. Well, I think there may be one or possibly two out in Wisconsin. Yes, two brothers, Matt and Andrew. I think you may know them. Matt, he's a good boy. Andrew, or should I say Horatio Cabletoe, has been rather naughty this year. He's pretty lucky that I like their show. Time for Fellowship, I believe it's called. Otherwise, he'd be getting his wages in coal.
Well, I'm sure that Brother Andrew has plenty of time before Christmas to turn things around.
I'm sure he does.
Yes, there is always time to improve yourself.
Well, Brother Santa, I think that's just incredible how it ties into the rough and perfect ashlar that way, how there's still time. There's still time before Christmas to make yourself from that rough to close to perfect ashlar. And I think that's a great idea to have for this holiday season, this time of year.
So we do have to ask Santa. We all have a different, let's say flavor, different taste when it comes to the ornaments of our lodge room or the customs of our lodge room. We've got to ask, do you have any special Masonic regalia from the North Pole that you wear?
Oh, I certainly do. My apron is one of a kind. It's red and white, just like my suit, with intricate snowflake embroidery and candy cane tassels. It's a festive reminder of the joy and unity we strive for as Masons. And my gavel? It's carved with a piece of wood from the first Christmas tree ever planted. It's a symbol of tradition and the enduring spirit of giving.
That's really cool.
Doesn't that sound cool? And it's amazing, Brother Santa, how your lodge is so unique. And it's, you may still follow the same traditions and the same ritual, but having your own Christmas North Pole flair on your regalia has to be a sight to see.
Oh, you would not believe what the lodge looks like. So beautiful.
Well, we're going to have to take a trip and visit one of these days.
Do Right Worshipful Brother Jeff Syme, for his work as a airline pilot, does his work sell airline tickets to the North Pole?
I'm not sure they do or not, but we'll have to ask him.
I mean, do you think maybe we could ask him to just give us a private trip to the North Pole?
I bet he could do that for us.
You think?
I think so.
I think that would be cool.
So speaking of being up at the North Pole, your workshop seems to be like the ultimate symbol of Masonic craftsmanship.
How do you explain that? How do you tie that in, Brother Santa?
The workshop is a perfect metaphor for teamwork and skill. Each elf brings their unique talents to the table, just as every brother contributes to the strength of the lodge. It's a harmonious environment where everyone works together toward a common goal, bringing happiness to others. And let's not forget the reindeer. They're not much for craftsmanship, but they sure keep the elves entertained.
So, would you say then that your workshop is a Masonic operation?
Absolutely. The elves are master craftsmen. Each of them has a role to play, just like in a lodge. The only issue is keeping them focused during the degree work. Last week, one of them replaced the working tools with a toy hammer and a rubber square. Not very operative, but it made for a good laugh.
Well, it's nice to see that even at the North Pole, there's still some levity in a lodge room.
Which adds to the next question. For levity's sake, are the reindeer involved?
Oh, yes. Well, they tried. Blitzen applied for membership once, but he misunderstood the 3 great lights and thought they were landing beacons. Let's just say he's sticking to flight operations for now.
Jeez. So
This has to be an incredible time in the North Pole.
I don't know how you get anything done.
I have many elves to help. Just like in the Masons and your lodge here, I'm sure there are plenty of people you can fall back on.
It's true. We wouldn't be able to function without each other.
We wouldn't.
It's good to know it's all universal.
I know. It's great to know that the same problems that Genoa Lodge has must be being had by Polar Star Lodge as well.
Yes, I just think sometimes we might be able to work things out a bit quicker, seeing as how we're always working together.
Sounds great. So, speaking of working together, are there any traditions or specific ways you do things that are unique to Polar Star Lodge? Any insight you could give us into that? Anything you'd like to share with the craftsmen about that?
Of course. We have a few. One of my favorites is the lighting of the Tree of Wisdom. It's a magnificent pine tree adorned with ornaments that represent Masonic virtues: charity, humility, brotherly love. Each ornament reminds us of the values we strive to live by. And of course, we always end our meetings with a hearty feast, complete with hot cocoa and sugar cookies.
Oh,
That sounds delicious.
I think at next stated meeting we'll need to put in a motion that our meetings need to start ending at least during the winter season with hot cocoa and sugar cookies.
We'll make sure we let Brother Turco know that.
I know it always makes the elves happy, and sometimes the reindeer get into it too.
Do you think it'll make Charlie and Mark happy?
I think it would. I think it would make them laugh and jolly, and I think they need that. I'm actually completely amazed that they're not on your naughty list.
No comment.
Santa,
Ooh.
as we wrap this up, what message would you like to share with our listeners this holiday season?
My dear brothers, remember that the true gift of the season is the light we carry within. Whether it's through a kind word a thoughtful gesture, or a charitable act, we can all brighten the lives of those around us. Let this season be a reminder that the values we cherish in Freemasonry, brotherly love, relief, and truth, are universal. Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas to all!
Well, Santa, thank you for joining us today. This has truly been a magical episode of the Third Degree Masonic Podcast.
I think it really has. To all our listeners and craftsmen, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and may you carry the light of the season in your hearts all year long.
And remember, craftsmen, keep your working tools in order and always be on the level. Ho, 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 ho. Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas!
Goodbye, Santa. Goodbye, Brother Santa.
Goodbye, brothers.
To all the listeners and craftsmen here on the Third Degree Masonic Podcast, during this holiday season, we would like to extend our appreciation to you all for a successful journey with our Masonic podcast. We look forward to continuing to bring you all quality Masonic content in the upcoming year in 2025. From all of us at the Third Degree Masonic Podcast and Genoa Lodge number 433, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday.
And craftsmen, if you can find it within your heart to take the season of the holiday and share it with those around you. Bring joy to those with you. Try to bring peace on earth. And for those of you in the craft, remember your teachings and be charitable in this season of giving. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and we'll see you next year.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast do not reflect those of the Grand Lodge of Ohio, its officers, or any of its jurisdictions. They only reflect those of the hosts or guests.